Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Wendy Fernando. I'm a student in Duta Wacana Christian University. So today I would like to share you about my knowledge in research paradigms, qualitative research, and research question to you all. And to make sure you can understand more easier and simple, I already make the PowerPoint. So let's check it out. So this is my PowerPoint. The first one lets we know about the background. I will explain more further about research paradigms that conclude positivism paradigm, interpretivism paradigm, and pragmatism paradigm. And then qualitative research, and the last is research questions. Types of research paradigms. The first one is the positivism paradigm. The positivism paradigm, true knowledge is based on experience of senses and can be obtained by observation and experiment. Positivist thinkers lean strongly on determinism, empiricism, parsimony, and generality. Determinism means that events are caused by other circumstances, and hence understanding such causal links and is necessary for prediction and control. The second one is empiricism, means collection of verifiable empirical evidence in support of theories or hypotheses. Furthermore, the researcher is seen as being independent from the study and follows a deductive approach. The researchers concentrate on facts rather than the human interest, making this approach a deductive one. Parsimony refers to explanation of the phenomena in the most efficient way possible. Generality is the process of generalizing the observation of the particular phenomenon to the world at large. The advantage of a positivist approach to research is that the researchers can cover a wide range of situations in a short period of time. However, the following disadvantage of positivism should also be borne in mind. Positivism relies on experience as a valid source of knowledge. However, a wide range of the basic and important concepts such as cause, time, and space are not based on experience. Positivism assumes that all types of processes can be perceived as a certain variation of actions of individuals or relationships between individuals. Adoption of positivism can be criticized of reliance on the status quo. In other words, research findings are only descriptive, thus they lack insight into in-depth issues. Interpretivist paradigms. Interpretivism emphasizes that social reality is viewed and interpreted by the individual according to the ideological position that she or he holds. Therefore, knowledge is personal experience rather than acquired from or imposed from outside. The interpretivist paradigm believes that reality is multi-layered and complex, and a single phenomenon can have multiple interpretations. Interpretivism pays attention to and value what people say, do and feel, and how they make meaning of the phenomena being researched. Interpretivism foregrounds the meaning that individuals or communities assign to their experiences. Patterns, trends, and themes should therefore emerge from the research process, and the role of the researchers should be to understand real-life situations from the point of view of the insider. The third is pragmatism paradigm. Pragmatism research philosophy accepts concepts to be relevant only if they support action. Pragmatists recognize that there are many different ways to interpreting the world and undertaking research, that no single point of view can ever give the entire picture, and that there may be multiple realities. Pragmatics can combine both positivism and interpretivism position within the scope of a single research according to the nature of the research questions. So in this pragmatism, we can use the positive paradigms and interpretivism paradigms. And when we use it, we should paying attention to the research question. And then let's we move to qualitative research. Qualitative research involves collecting and analyzing non-numerical data, example text, video, or audio, to understand concepts, opinions, or experiences. It can be used to gather in-depth insights into a problem or generate new ideas for research. Qualitative research is commonly used in the humanities and social sciences, in subjects such as anthropology, sociology, education, health sciences, history, and others. Qualitative research question example: how does social media shape body image in teenagers? What factors influence employee retention in a large organization? A process to qualitative research. Qualitative research is used to understand how people experience the world. While there are many approaches to qualitative research, they tend to be flexible and focus on retaining rich meaning when interpreting data. Common approaches include grounded theory, anthropography, action research, phenomenological research, and narrative research. They share some similarities but emphasize different aims and perspectives. Grounded theory researchers collect rich data on a topic of interest and develop theories inductively. Ethnography researchers immerse themselves in groups or organizations to understand their cultures. Action research researchers and participants collaboratively link theory to practice to drive social change. Phenomenological research researchers investigate a phenomenon or event by describing and interpreting participants' life experiences. Narrative research researchers examine how stories are told to understand how participants perceive and make sense of their experiences. Qualitative research method. Each of the research approaches involving using one or more data collection methods. These are some of the most commonly qualitative methods: observation, interviews, focus groups, surveys, secondary research. So you can read the meaning of that. And then qualitative data analysis. Qualitative data can take the form of text, photos, videos, and audios. For example, you may be working with interview transcripts, survey responses, field notes, or recordings from natural setting. Most types of qualitative data analysis share the same 5 steps. First, prepare and organize your data. This may mean transcribing interviews or typing up field notes. Second, review and explore your data. Examine the data for patterns or repeated ideas that emerge. Third, develop a data coding system. Based on your initial ideas, establish a set of codes that you can apply to categorize your data. Next, assign codes to the data. For example, in qualitative survey analysis, this may mean going through each participant's responses and tagging them with codes in a spreadsheet. As you go through your data, you can create new codes to add to your system if necessary. And the last is identify recurring themes. Link codes together into cohesive, overarching themes. Let's we talk about the advantage and disadvantage of qualitative research. Qualitative research often tries to preserve the voice and perspective of participants and can be adjusted as new research questions arise. Qualitative research is good for flexibility, natural settings, meaningful insights, generation of new ideas. Flexibility because the data collection and analysis process can be adapted as new ideas or patterns emerge. They are not rigidly decided beforehand. Natural settings data collection occurs in real-world contexts or in naturalistic ways. Meaningful insights because detailed descriptions of people experience, feeling, and perceptions can be used in design, testing, or improving system or products. Generation of new ideas because open-ended responses means that researchers can uncover novel problems or opportunities that they wouldn't have to of otherwise. Researchers must consider practically and theoretically limitations in analyzing and interpreting their data. Qualitative research suffers from unreliability, subjectivity, limited generalizability, labor-intensive. Unreliability, the real-world setting often makes qualitative research unreliable because of uncontrolled factors that affect the data. Subjectivity, due to the researcher's primary role in analyzing and interpreting data, qualitative research cannot be replicated. The researchers decide what is important and what is irrelevant in the data analysis, so interpretations of the same data can vary greatly. Limited generalizability, small samples are often used to gather detailed data about specific contexts. Despite rigorous analysis procedures, it is difficult to draw generalizable conclusions because the data may be biased and unrepresentative of the wider population. Labor-intensive, although software can be used to manage and record large amounts of text, data analysis often has to be checked or performed manually. Let's move to a research question. As you prepare to write your essay or thesis, use these examples of good and bad research questions to make sure you are on the right track. Start with a problem statement about the area you want to study, and then create research question and hypothesis to learn more. These good and bad examples will demonstrate the qualities you need for an effective research question. The first one, you should pay attention to questions should have complex answer. A simple question gets a simple answer, and simple answer will not be enough information for a thesis. How you ask the question is important. Avoid questions that can be answered with yes or no or a single word or phrase. Let's see the example of the bad. Does owning a pet improve quality of life for older people? And let's see the good. In what ways does owning a pet improve quality of life for older people? With this bad question, the answer is a simple yes or no. However, when you ask about the specific ways a pet can improve the quality of life for its owner, you get a much more detailed and interesting answer. This type of answer allows you to create a thesis statement. Let's move to another example. Good research question need focus. A good research question should be focused on a single topic or on several closely related ideas. If it isn't, you won't end up with a good thesis. If a question is too general or doesn't stay on the topic, you can fix it by deciding which part of the topic you want to research. Let's see the bad question. Does medication help alleviate attention deficit hyperactivity disorder or ADHD symptoms? And do kids need more exercise? And let's see the goods. How effective are the various types of medication in treating elementary students with ADHD? Instead of covering both ADHD medication and exercise as topics, the good question focuses on medication only. It's also more specific about the age of the students. The answer to this question will provide a good thesis. Questions should be specific. As you read your question, make it as specific as possible. This will give you a more detailed answer, one that is strong enough to be the topic of your project or paper. The bad, how do artificial sweeteners affect people? And the good, how does aspartame affects menopausal women who suffer from migraines? By specifying which artificial sweetener and which people, the question is easier to answer with facts. These facts help form a strong, focused thesis, and they also lend support to your work. And then research questions. Good research questions are open to debate. It is easy to read a research paper or do a project about something that isn't controversial, but you likely won't be creating anything new. Instead, ask a research question about something that has multiple sides. That way, the research you do and details you include will have more impact. The bad question, are illicit drugs bad for kids? And the good question, which effective education strategy prevent drug abuse in teens? Everyone knows illicit drugs are bad for kids, but people will disagree about which education strategy actually help. You'll need to dig for data to back up your answer to these questions, since some people will not agree with you. Okay, that's all about the research paradigm, qualitative research, and the research question. Thank you for your attention and see you.